The wind-up here does not blow. It scours. It strips the bark from the pines. It cracks the stone. It tests the structural integrity of everything it touches. This is the Tagetis Range, the spine of Laconia. It is a beautiful place to die. To understand the Spartan, you must understand his geography. He is not an Athenian, lounging in the port breeze, debating philosophy while eating imported figs. He is a creature of the ravine, of the rock. The land is hard, so the men must be harder. If they are not, they are liabilities. And Sparta. Sparta does not tolerate liability. A child is born. In any other city in Greece, in Thebes, in Corinth, this is a moment of relief. Wine is poured. Prayers are offered to Hera. The father rushes in to hold his heir. But this is not Corinth. The father approaches. He does not offer comfort. He is looking for symmetry. He takes the boy. He does not cradle the infant. He grips him. Like a tool, he checks the limbs. Are they straight? He checks the jaw. Is it set? He is performing an audit. Then comes the first war. The Greeks believed that warm water made a child soft. Comfortable, Sparta has no use for comfort. They fill the basin with wine, unmixed, potent enough to strip paint. Alcohol content so high the fumes alone would make a man dizzy. The shock is total. The alcohol burns the mucous membranes. It stings the eyes like fire. It enters the pores. The Spartans believed this was a test of the nervous system. An epileptic child, a weak child, would convulse. Their heart would stutter and fail under the chemical assault. If the boy dies in the basin, he was never a Spartan. He was a mistake. He screams, good, he fights the pain, but the father's approval means nothing. In Sparta, the father owns nothing. Not his land, not his life, and certainly not his son. The next morning, the father carries the survivor to the lesh. He presents the infant to the elders. These are the Gerousia, men over 60, men who have survived 100 battles. Their eyes are clouded with cataracts and violence. The father stands silent. He has no vote here. They are the quality control inspectors of the state. They look for the subtle defects, a clubbed foot, a curvature of the spine, a softness in the belly. Any deviation from the physical perfection required to hold a 12-pound shield in a phalanx for 8 hours under a burning sun. If the boy is strong, the elder grants the father a plot of land, a kleros. The boy is assigned a future. But if the thumb finds a twist, if the eye sees a flaw, there is no appeal. There is no sentiment. To keep a defective child is to steal from the state. It is to weaken the wall of shields. It is treason. He walks to the apothete, the deposit. It is a chasm, a tear in the earth. Down below, far out of sight, lie the bones of 1,000 other mistakes. He leaves it there. Sometimes they throw them. Sometimes they leave them to the exposure, the cold, the thirst, the wolves. It doesn't matter. The result is the same. The darkness claims them. You might call this cruelty. You might call it barbarism. The Spartan calls it necessity. They are a minority in their own land, surrounded by a slave population that outnumbers them 10 to 1. They sit atop a powder keg of rebellion, They cannot afford a soldier who limps. They cannot afford a mouth that eats but cannot kill. The phalanx is a machine. A machine has no use for broken gears. The innocence didn't die here. It was murdered, systematically, logically. The boy who survived the wine and the elders is brought home. He has passed the first selection. He is allowed to live. But do not mistake survival for safety. The mountain was the easy part. The wine was just a drink. Now the training begins. In Athens, when a child falls, a mother runs. She scoops him up. She coos. She tells him the floor was mean. She wraps him in wool to protect his delicate limbs. In Sparta, the floor is not mean. The floor is a fact. She does not run. She watches. If he cries, she does not comfort him. If he bleeds, she cleans it, but she does not kiss it better. He learns his first lesson of physics. Gravity does not care about your feelings, and neither does the state. Most Greek infants spent their first years bound tight in swaddling clothes. The logic was that it kept limbs straight. It kept them safe. Sparta forbade it. They left the limbs free. Let the cold air bite the skin. Let the sun burn the neck. Let the boy thrash and kick and harden. They were building a chassis. You do not wrap a weapon in cotton. The Spartan nurse was a legendary figure in the ancient world. Aristocrats in other cities, rich merchants in Sicily, politicians in Athens would pay a fortune to hire a Spartan nanny. They wanted the prestige. But they didn't understand what they were buying. She was not there to nurture. She was there to prune. Picky eaters were not tolerated. You ate what was in the bowl, or you did not eat. Fear of the dark? Forbidden. Fear of being alone? Beat it out of them. They would leave toddlers in the dark for hours. A normal child imagines monsters in the shadows. A Spartan child is taught that he is the monster in the shadows. If he cried for his mother, she wouldn't come. Eventually, the crying stops, not because the fear is gone, but because the hope is gone. And where is the father during these formative years? He is a ghost, a Spartan citizen, a similitude, does not live at home. He lives here, in the barracks, in the mess hall. He eats his meals with his squad. He sleeps on a hard cot next to the men he will die with. If he wants to see his wife, he must sneak out. He visits her in secret, in the dark, to perform his duty to the state, to breed. Then he leaves before dawn. A Spartan boy could go his entire childhood without seeing his father's face in the daylight. The father is not a parent. He is a distant archetype, a god of war who visits in the night and vanishes. The boy does not love his father. He worships him and he fears him, so the raising of the wolf falls to the mother. Spartan women were not like other Greek women. They were not locked in the house. They exercised, they ran, they wrestled, they owned land. They had voices, and they were fanatical. We have all heard the line, "Come back with your shield or on it." It sounds like a movie catchphrase. It wasn't. It was a death sentence pronounced by a mother to her son. She looked at this boy, this flesh of her flesh, and she did not see a son. She saw a grim investment. She loved him. But in Sparta, love is a different chemical. Love is preparation. Love is ensuring that when the spear comes, he does not flinch. because if he flinches, he dies. And if he dies a coward, he shames her. She would rather bury him than mourn his reputation. The soft years are ending. The boy is 6 years old. He is tough. He is quiet. He is obedient, but he is still an individual. He still has a name that belongs to him. He still sleeps in a house with a roof. He doesn't know it yet, but his life is about to be effectively over. The state has been patient. It has allowed the mother to nurse him, to wash him, to feed him, but the lease has expired. Tomorrow, he turns 7. Tomorrow, the paidonomos comes. And the boy you see now will never be seen again. It is dawn on his 7th birthday. There is no cake. There are no gifts. There is only this man standing in the light. The paidonomos, the warden of the boys. He is a state official, a magistrate of pain. He has absolute authority over every male child in Sparta. He answers only to the gods and the kings. He does not ask for the boy. He comes to collect. The transaction is simple. The state lent the mother a womb for 7 years. Now, the state demands its return on investment. In any other land, there would be tears, clinging to legs, begging. Here, there is only efficiency. She hands him his inheritance. 1 garment. He will wear it every day in summer heat and winter snow for the next 12 years. She does not hug him. A hug is soft. A hug tells him he is special. He is not special. He is a brick in a wall that is yet to be built. Go, she says, be a wall. That is his goodbye. He steps out of the house. The door closes behind him with the finality of a tomb being sealed. He will never sleep under that roof again. He will never eat at that table again. If he sees his mother in the street, he will salute her as a superior officer, not as a parent. The boy dies on the doorstep. They are herded into a holding pen near the barracks, a collection of bewildered, frightened individuals. Before you can build a soldier, you must destroy the civilian. The first act of destruction is visual. The Spartans were famous for their long, flowing hair as adults. They combed it before battle like lions grooming their manes. But that was earned. That was the privilege of the warrior. The recruit gets the slave cut, shaved to the wood. It is humiliation by design. It strips away vanity. It exposes the shape of the skull. When they stand up, they all look the same. A bald, shivering mass of raw meat. They look at each other and do not recognize their playmates. They only see mirrors of their own degradation. They are ordered into column formation. They don't know how to march yet. They stumble. They bump into each other. A whip bearer, an assistant to the paidonomos, steps in. The first lesson of the Agoge is delivered into the muscle of the leg. Pain is the new teacher. Pain is the universal language. They learn quickly. The line straightens. They march away from the world of women. Away from warmth. Ahead of them lies the agela, the herd. 12 years of starvation. 12 years of beatings, 12 years of sleeping on reeds and dreaming of blood. The gate of the barracks looms. It is dark inside like the mouth of a cave. The door closes. Welcome to Sparta. The smell hits you first. It is the smell of unwashed bodies, of urine, of mud, of wet wool drying on shivering skin. This is the Agela, the herd. In other cities, they call it a school. In Sparta, they called it what it was, a pack. There are no cots. There are no blankets. You sleep on the floor. If you are lucky, you sleep on a pile of lycodon. They do not give you the bedding. You must take it. Every winter, the boys are marched to the river. They are told to harvest the reeds, but they are given no knives, no scythes. You break the stalks with your bare hands. You tear at the roots until your nails crack, until your palms are ribbons of raw meat. If you want to sleep off the stone, you pay for it in blood. They pile the reeds. They curl up in the dark, pressing against each other. This is not affection. It is thermodynamics. The boy on the outside freezes. The boy in the middle sweats. They rotate. They learn that the only warmth in the universe comes from the brother next to you. They are learning the physics of the phalanx before they ever hold a shield. The Paidonamos is the distant god. The iron is the devil at the door. He is 20 years old, a graduate of the agony. He has survived the hunger and the beatings, and now he is the master of the kennel. He does not teach math. He teaches hierarchy. The whip is the curriculum. It is not used to punish crimes. It is used to punish mediocrity. Did you stumble? Strike. Did you speak out of turn? Strike. Did you look tired? Strike. Boredom is dangerous. When the iron is bored, he seeks entertainment. He orders them to fight. Not for a prize, not for a reason, but because he said so. They throw themselves at each other. They gouge eyes. They bite. They kick. They learn to turn the violence on and off like a spigot. One moment, you are sleeping next to him. The next, you are trying to break his nose. There is no malice in it. It is just business. They are puppies being trained to kill wolves. If they cannot hurt each other, how will they ever hurt a Persian? The softness melts away. The crying stops. You stop feeling the cold reeds against your back. You stop feeling the hunger pangs as pain. They become a constant dull companion. You stop being a boy. You become a unit of endurance. But the whip is not the cruelest tool. The cruelest tool is the bowl, or rather, the emptiness of it. They feed them just enough to keep them alive, just enough so they don't die. But never enough to stop the ache. Dinner is served. It is called melazomos, the black broth. Pork boiled in blood, salt, and vinegar. Visitors from other Greek cities tried it once. A man from Sybaris spat it out and said, "Now I know why the Spartans are so willing to die. It is better than eating this." To the Spartan boy, it is ambrosia, because he is starving. The state feeds him, but it is a calculated insult. It is enough calories to keep the heart beating, but not enough to stop the stomach from eating itself. He is always lightheaded. He is always on edge. He is always looking for an angle. Hunger is a weapon. A full belly makes a man sleepy. It makes him content. Sparta does not want contentment. It wants a wolf. Lean, wakeful, desperate. So the state gives them a solution. If you are hungry, steal. Theft was not a crime for the Spartan youth. It was a required course. They were encouraged to rob gardens, to steal meat from the butchers, to raid the pantries of the mess halls. But there was a catch. If you stole successfully, you were praised. You showed initiative, cunning, the traits of a guerrilla fighter. But if you were caught, you were not beaten for stealing. You were beaten for being clumsy. Morality had nothing to do with it. In war, there is no alive or dead, hidden or seen. The boy is lashed until his back is a map of failure. He learns the lesson. The crime is not the act. The crime is the discovery. And then there is the story of the fox. Plutarch tells us this. It is the ultimate parable of the Agoge. A boy, let's call him Brasidas, steals a fox cub, perhaps for food, perhaps as a trophy. He hides the prize. He stands at attention. The paidonomos approaches. He stops in front of the boy to lecture him on formation. The boy stands rigid. His face is calm. His eyes are fixed on the horizon. Under the tunic, the fox is panicked. It scratches. It bites. It begins to burrow into the boy's stomach. Teeth tearing through muscle. Claws shredding the intestines. The pain is absolute. It is the feeling of being eaten alive. He does not flinch. He does not cry out. He does not drop the cloak to reveal his theft. To reveal the fox would be to admit failure. It would be shame, and a Spartan fears shame more than he fears death. They found him dead, his abdomen hollowed out. He traded his life for his silence. We look at this and see madness, a waste of life for a pointless theft. The Spartans looked at it and saw perfection. He defeated his biology. He defeated his instinct. He remained a statue while his insides were turned to ribbons. That was the standard. That was the bar. If you could not stand still while the wolf ate you, you were not fit to stand in the line. We come to the end, the starvation, the cold, the theft, the darkness. It was all just a warm-up, a rehearsal for the final performance. This is the sanctuary of Artemis Orthia, the goddess of the hunt, the goddess of the wild. She demands a tribute. On the altar sits the prize, cheese. To a modern man, it looks absurd, a deadly game for dairy. But to a boy who has lived on black broth and stolen figs for 5 years, that altar is Valhalla. It is the only fullness he has ever known. But the goddess does not give gifts for free. Between the starving boys and the food stands the gauntlet, the whip bearers. Their instructions are simple. Defend the altar. Show no mercy. If a boy wants the cheese, he must pay the toll. The horn sounds. They do not run like children. They charge like infantry. The air turns into a thresher. The leather bites deep. It wraps around limbs. It tears open the backs of the boys. Blood sprays into the air, misting the white stone of the temple. But they do not stop. Pain is information. The information is, move faster. This is the diamastagosis, the whipping. It was so brutal that boys frequently died on this altar. Their hearts gave out from the shock. Their bodies were flayed until the spine was visible. And the Spartans, they cheered. Look at the crowd. The mothers are not covering their eyes. They are screaming. But they are not screaming for the men to stop. They are screaming at their sons to stand up. Do not cry out. Take it. Make me proud. For the Spartan mother, a son who dies silently under the lash is a tragedy. A son who cries out for mercy is a disgrace. She can bury a tragedy. She cannot live with a disgrace. He grabs the prize. He is not thinking about the taste anymore. He is thinking about the victory. He turns back through the gauntlet. He has to run the gauntlet twice. Once to get there, once to get out. He collapses. He is alive. He looks up. He sees the priestess of Artemis. She holds a small statue of the goddess. Legend says that if the whipping is too light, the statue becomes heavy in her hands. The goddess demands more blood. Today, the statue is light. The goddess is satisfied. He eats. The taste is salt and iron. The boy who walked up the mountain is dead. The boy who cried for his mother is dead. The boy who felt the cold is dead. What stands up from the dust is not a child. It is a hoplite. He has been hollowed out. Every soft emotion, every instinct for self-preservation, every weakness has been surgically removed by 12 years of calculated trauma. He is a vessel for the state, a brick in the wall. The world will call them heroes. The world will write poems about their sacrifice at Thermopylae. But the sacrifice didn't happen at the hot gates. The sacrifice happened here, in the mud, in the dark, on the altar. Innocence didn't just die, it was slaughtered so that Sparta might live.